Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's going on, Cavs fans? Welcome to another edition of the Block, the Shot, the Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Skylar Webster, and with me is Kevin Lynch, and we're here to talk about the Cleveland Cavs, who are 31-4 after another double-digit win against the Hornets and stretching their winning streak to 10 games now. Their second kind of lengthy winning streak of the season. Kevin, let's hear what your thoughts were kind of going into this game, what you see in the game, stuff like that.
Sure. So this game, you and I were talking before we went on air. It's a game it's hard to get up for ahead of time, and then it's hard to kind of know what to say because the Cavs are, if not the best, one of the top two teams in the NBA, and the Hornets are one of the worst, we'll just say. And so basically the Cavs took care of business. But my overwhelming thought is, we talk about how good this Cavs team is, and they are, and how fun they are, and they're absolutely a blast to watch. The other thing they are is incredibly professional and focused. And what I mean by that is tonight is a type of game where they could have come out real slow. They came off a West Coast trip, undefeated West Coast trip, just phenomenal, really exceeded expectations by going undefeated. It would have been understandable if they came into the game tonight and maybe decided to load manage a couple of guys, or if they would have come out and been sluggish and had a little bit closer game than we would have thought. They just came in. Everyone was there tonight except for the couple guys that are injured. And they played their normal game. Yeah, they're a little sloppy at times, and the final score was a little bit closer than the game was. But I thought that was the first word that came to me tonight. It was an absolute professional showing by the Cavs.
I would agree. As this team, they get a lot of criticism lately, especially on this winning streak of, oh, well, so-and-so's missing a star, so-and-so's not playing. Mm-hmm. They're beating teams by double digits, and that's what a championship contending team does. They're supposed to beat these teams by double digits.
Yep.
They're not letting games get close. They're not playing down to the final minutes, which to go along with what you said about, just being professional and showing up and not just penciling in a win, and just keeping their minutes low. Don't need to take a day off or a guy to take a day off because they're only playing 28 minutes a night.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And now I apologize. I can't remember if you were saying this before or you said it on air, but this is a 10-game winning streak now. They are, I think, won 13 or last 14, I believe, is what it is, because they went 12-1 in December. They're now 1-0 in January, or I'm sorry, 2-0 in January. And I was actually just looking and doing some quick math. The last time this 10-0 streak, all 10 games were double-digit victories. I thought that was true, but I wanted to fact check that before I said it. Sure enough, yeah. Not only to win 10 in a row, to win them all by double digits, they're actually increasing their point differential, their average point differential, which is now, I believe, it's number one in the league. It's almost 12 points a game. And yeah, it's hard to keep coming up with new terms to talk about this Cavs team, because they just keep doing the same thing. They keep showing up, playing incredibly well, taking care of business, winning games going away. But I already talked about the professionalism, and the other thing is the consistency. This is one of the most consistent sports teams I've ever followed, in any sport. The fact that they, they're high level offensively every night. They're the best offense in the league. That's been proven. Their defense, they had a little bit of lapse in defense, kind of I guess, in between these two streaks, but otherwise they've been a top 10-ish defensive team as well. And they do it night in and night out. And it's just like, I don't know. It's hard. How many more alternatives can you come up for the word impressive?
I think that was our criticism kind of in the previous coaching regime was, we want this team to be more consistent because they would show flashes of being able to put their offensive kind of pieces together and play aligned, but there was never for a good stretch. They were consistent on defense. But now this team is just consistently winning. Yeah. Like, that's the kind of consistency I'm about, is they're consistently winning games. And like you said, being professionals, showing up, doing their job, playing for one another. A video came out a couple days ago of Donovan Mitchell announcing that Kenny Atkinson won Coach of the Month again. And you can just see that these guys love playing for Kenny. They love playing for each other. The vibes have never been higher.
No, not at all. We've compared it to more of like a college team atmosphere within the team. The guys being so incredibly happy on the bench for their teammates, the joking around, all that kind of stuff, while maintaining, that consistent professional level of play that we're talking about. I mean, it's really incredible, and we should talk about a couple of we talk a little bit about the game tonight and overall, but like one guy you wouldn't think this is the guy I would want to lead in on, but I want to talk about Dean Wade because I alluded to some of it with Tim on the Friday night podcast. We're going to talk more about it when we do the live one on Tuesday, but so Dean Wade, just solid game tonight, 6 points, 4 rebounds, like he just contributing all over the floor like he normally does. So as impressive as the Cavs are 31-4 as a team, when Dean Wade's in the lineup, they're 25-1. And wow. This isn't just this year. The last 2.5 years, basically since they got Donovan Mitchell, their record now with Dean Wade in the lineup is 92-31. When he's not in the lineup, they're basically a 500 team, 36-33. And I don't think Dean Wade's like an all-star level player or anything. I just think he's the perfect complement to the stars in this team. I think they need a big wing who can shoot threes, go up against the best offensive wing on the other team. He does a lot of dirty work and he stretches the floor because you have to respect the shot. And so I think he is far and away the most important role player out of the big four. I'm to that point now, as much as I like a lot of the other guys and think they're high level contributors to this team, I think he's the most important one. I think he's critical. And unfortunately, he's also kind of injury prone. So
yeah, that's the unfortunate part. You can look at the box score tonight to justify your point. All of the starters outside of Dean Wade, nearly 20 points tonight. Dean Wade was 6, but Dean Wade led the team outside of Max Strus, I guess, in plus minus. That is doing the dirty work.
It is. And he's always very a consistently good basketball player, makes consistent plays to win, but now he's finally coming around offensively to where you can count on him a little bit more offensively. We singled him out a few weeks ago that he was the one Cav that was struggling offensively to that point in the season. I think he was shooting like 36% from the field and 31% from three. Well, now all of a sudden, after he's been really good this whole 10-game winning streak. Now his percentages on the year are starting to climb. And I don't think Kenny Atkinson and the staff ever lost faith in him, but I think they're they have even more faith in him now that his minutes are ticking up. He's actually getting a handful of those Okoro minutes that are, were kind of up for grabs when he got hurt. So I just think, and I always like to circle back if I'm ever critical of someone, because a little bit critical of Dean Wade, and he is completely picked up his play. He is an absolutely crucial point to this part to this team. And I just kind of wanted to make sure we called that out because I think he has been a really key figure in both of these winning streaks. He was good at the beginning of the year, and then he kind of got hurt and struggled, and then he's been really good in this 10-game winning streak, and to the tune of, they're 25-1 when he's in the lineup.
That's wild. That's a wild stat for the year. Leading into like kind of along those lines, he's picking up his percentages are starting to climb. He's starting to kind of turn his offensive numbers around. A banana stat on this team is that the Cavs have 6 guys shooting over 40% from three. Yeah. None of those guys are Max Strus, Dean Wade, or Sam Merrill, who you could argue are their 3 best 3-point shooters.
Yes. In Dean, again, well, I guess not in Dean Wade's defense, that Dean Wade's been shooting about 50% from 3 for the last month. Now his percentage started out so low that he's only up to 37% now for the year, but he's really picked it up. But you're right. And this team has amazing shooters. And we've said this before, but it's worth reiterating. They get such high quality looks. And that was one thing I wanted to bring up, is that I think the biggest key, and there's so many keys, but the biggest key to why this offense runs so well is because they have a lot of guys, but in particular Garland and Mitchell, that consistently break down the defense. And they break down the defense, and it leads to a drop off to Jared Allen for a dunk, or Evan Mobley, or kick out to a wide open 3. I think all these guys are shooting career highs because they're good shooters, but then they're also getting the cleanest looks that they've ever gotten in their career.
That's absolutely true. I think the only person, you said it the other night, that the only person that takes any kind of contested shot is Donovan Mitchell, and he's the one that you're okay with taking, of course, contested shots.
Yeah, he's one of the best shot makers in the NBA. You want him taking any shot, just about any shot he can get.
Absolutely. And just kind of going on, like Jared Allen, another double-double tonight. He was a guy that we kind of circled around, said, his offense is kind of dipping. He's got to kind of get some stuff realigned. Boy, has he. I mean, He was a menace on the glass with 5 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, 11 total rebounds, and still getting 19 points. I mean, he put Charlotte to work.
Yeah, he does. And I think the one thing, I think Jared's biggest strength offensively, I guess 2 things. One, he's great at positioning himself to get a drop-off pass when these guys, you can see he makes these subtle movements to like pivot, like take 2 steps one way to kind of open up a passing lane when Garland or Mitchell or anybody's driving to the basket. The other thing, he has great hands, because a lot of these passes, like he handles passes that are down around his knees and then just takes it straight up to finish. I think that's really his 2 biggest attributes offensively, is how good he is positionally to like get himself in a good position to receive a pass. And then having just really great soft hands to kind of, handle even the more difficult ones.
I would add a third in there into like his top 3 skill set with offensively. It's just his footwork when he is down low. He can pivot, get guys on birds. I mean, he can get guys flying around. I think that's something that's super. I put it on our X account. Like, he will never get the credit that he deserves, but he is an absolutely sensational talent. Well deserving of being a multi-time All-Star.
Agreed. And on a team where, another reason it's so much fun, it seems like all super likable guys that like each other and everything. Jared Allen might win like homecoming king on this team, as far as if it was a popularity contest. Like, I don't think anyone is more beloved in the locker room, by the coaching staff, and maybe even by the fans, than Jared Allen. He's such like a lovable character. He's always smiling. The goofy thing he does when he gets called for a defensive 30 seconds is just hysterical. And the whole team, this team is full of guys you want to root for, and he's like right at the top of the list.
Is it possible to be like a star of the team and a glue guy? Like he's both.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a great call, because he's kind of like, when you describe a guy like that, I think of like Ben Wallace on the Pistons
Oh,
in like the
yeah.
early 2000s. Like he was a star, but he was a star by doing all of the little things to help you win. He didn't have like eye-popping stats or anything, right? So like I think the answer is yes. I think you can absolutely be a glue guy and make all the winning plays, but not have the lofty stats and still be considered a star.
He's proven it. I'm so happy that he got an extension. I thought maybe he was going to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy he got an extension.
Yeah.
Moving on to kind of another key point I wanted to bring up was Evan Mobley tonight. Still great offensively, still ran the floor. But he had what we talked about with Zach last week, a poor shooting night from three. He's 1 from 6 tonight. So I'm curious on how he's going to kind of respond to that, just because he has been so confident in shooting, in his 3-point shooting ability. And he's been hitting, like I said, he's one of the guys shooting over 40%.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about it, especially after one game, because you're right. His confidence is so high right now. Right. And he still had a high level contribution to the win tonight. So like, I'm not worried about it. I do think tonight he took a little bit more rushed threes than he normally does. I mean, he usually, because of how the offense goes and who is guarding him, he usually has the benefit of wide open corner threes. Tonight, he kind of rushed a couple from the wing, not the end of the world or anything. So all that's to say, I would write off tonight from his shooting, and I want him to take another 6 when they play OKC. Is that Wednesday night?
Yeah. Before we get into the preview game, I do want to stick on the Hornets just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because realcavsfans.com on their X account, they put out, and we'll be talking to these guys on Tuesday, but they put out this question that I want to kind of repurpose here. They said, can LaMelo Ball be a good player on a good team, or is he just destined to be a numbers collector on a bad team?
The latter. Yeah, to me.
I would agree. To me, LaMelo Ball doesn't seem like he's interested in winning basketball games. To me, he looks like he's out there to collect his numbers so that he has that going into any kind of contract negotiations for the next contract. I don't think he really cares if he's in Charlotte or the Wizards or Cleveland. I don't think he really cares about winning games. I think he seems like a guy that's just here to collect checks.
I agree with either all or most of that. I think first of all, I think he's an incredible talent to be,
so
6'7", 6'8", have that kind of handle, that kind of court vision. He is a really good shooter, even if he has a little bit of a funky shot, but he doesn't make winning plays. He takes a lot of low quality shots. Like the next time I see him, get a loose ball or dive on the floor will be the first time. Right. Like, so, I think he could. So I think he could, but he would have to kind of change the way he approaches the game.
I would agree. And nothing will be as bad as Lonzo's shot when he went to the Lakers, or when he first got drafted by the Lakers. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where he was like throwing across his body.
Yeah. The funny thing is, before obviously he's had horrible injury luck with his knee, but like Lonzo got to the point where he was actually making a lot of winning plays, and I could have seen him as a good contributor on a winning team. But LaMelo, yeah, I mean, does he have the talent to? 100%. But if he was going to be a contributor on a winning team, he would have to change a lot of the way he plays.
I would agree. And I guess that's why he's on Charlotte. I mean, it could be a coaching thing too. He's had a lot of coaches in and out the door. Yeah. So it could just be coaching discipline.
It's a tough spot for Charlotte because it's obviously a hard place to get free agents to come and to build a team and everything. And you draft a guy who in LaMelo Ball, who is incredibly talented. So you don't want to give up on him or anything, but at the same time, between as many games as he misses and the fact that they've never had close to a winning season with him, like I don't know. I think they're in a tough spot. I don't know. Like you in their position, it'd be really hard to give up on a star player. Probably the number one reason that any fans come and watch that team. But how he plays right now, I don't think it's going to contribute to them turning around into a playoff team.
Not anytime soon. Well, shifting gears to a team that is not struggling. I mean, it's a clash of the Titans in this next game. That's where we're giving a little extra time to go into, because it is to set it up here. The Cavs are on a 10-game win streak, undefeated against the West this year. The Thunder come to town. They're on a 15-game win streak, undefeated against the East this year. They're only a game behind us, and they kind of got screwed in that one game. I think it was against Houston, where they actually the NBA came out and said that they got it wrong, but you can't change the record.
Right.
So theoretically, they're the same record as us. They just put a whooping on Boston tonight, giving the Cavs a 6-game lead over Boston. But Kevin, what are your thoughts going into this? I mean, clash of the Titans.
So, not to set up and build up the melodrama even further, but like I think Wednesday night starts chapter 4 of the Cavs season, and to kind of set that up, the 15-game winning streak out of the gates. Just the Cavs. I wouldn't say coming out of nowhere, but having that level of success, none of us could have expected that, right? That was chapter 1, and then in their next 10 games after that, what gets a little bit lost in the overall the success of the season, they were 6-4, right, in a 10-game stretch. All their losses came in that stretch, and then took the break for the NBA Cup and come back. And now they, in chapter 3, another 10-game winning streak. So like, even if they win this game and everything, I kind of think this is chapter 4. We're going to write 6, 7, 8, a 6, 7, 8 chapter book, maybe a 10 chapter book, including the playoffs. But I think this starts like the next evolution of the season, because it is such a big game. These two teams have been far and away the best two teams in the NBA in their respective conferences. And every time we call the Cavs the best team in the NBA, I always say one of the two, because this is the other one, right? Because they haven't played each other. How do you really compare? But specifically for the game Wednesday night, my first hope is everyone plays. I mean, obviously, like Chet Holmgren is going to be out, Isaiah Okoro is going to be out, but like otherwise, that everyone plays, because I want to see the teams as much as they're as much at full strength as possible. The other thing from the Cavs perspective, the two things I would say is you're kind of going strength against strength. Like the Thunder's defense is incredible. I think they're the best defensive team in the league.
They are.
And the Cavs are the best offensive team in the league. So it's always really exciting when, those big of strengths are going to directly collide with one another, and see kind of they'll win some battles. Cavs will win some battles, and then who wins the war, right? The other thing on an individual player, I am interested in several matchups, but from a Cavs perspective, I'm not sure who's going to guard SGA, because that would normally be a Okoro's assignment. I think Mitchell gets some time on him. I think they might throw, Dean Wade, LeVert, maybe even Mobley on him a little bit just to mix it up. But I'll be really interested to see, maybe the breakdown after the game, like how many possessions each of the Cavs guys defended him and to what success rate they had.
Yeah, I think I agree with you this will be another chapter in this season. But I think it's the chapter of the Cavs proving that they are the best team. Like, no media head can dispute it. Nobody can, they have beat the Boston. They have beaten Milwaukee. They have beaten Joker twice. They've beaten, they put belt to ass on the Warriors twice. So to go against the Thunder, who we've yet to see and are kind of the other shining star in the West, I think if they pull out a win, and even I'll take a barely win, but a convincing win. There's not much else you can say. You can't say that there is a team better than them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially because they play them both times they play him is in like a 9-day stretch, starting with Wednesday. They play him the following week too. So like, I don't know if they split the game, if they split those two games and they look pretty even. Like, did we learn anything? Did we not? But like, I do think it'll be. I think it'll be a great test for the Cavs. Maybe as good a test. I actually think they might match up with OKC decently. I think the Cavs have struggled the most against teams with with big skilled wings. Like Boston's the number one example of that, right? Atlanta is a great example of that because Atlanta's not a better team than the Cavs, but they're just a bad matchup for them. But the Thunder don't really have quite as much size on the wing. SGA might be the MVP right now. He's definitely in the running, but I don't think it's a terrible matchup for the Cavs, other than the fact that the Thunder are just an incredibly talented team. That'll be a tough matchup for anybody. Skylar, you're muted. Technical difficulties.
I know my Wi-Fi went out and I switched my backup network and then it kept me on mute when it brought me back.
All good. And you're probably making the best point you've ever made in the podcast history too. So
it was just looking at ESPN. They got a 40-60 Cavs. So I mean, they think it's favorable. It's probably favorable just because it's in the Rock.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And a home field advantage definitely helps. But I mean, I love seeing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's tremendous. I mean, I think he might be, at this point, probably my favorite non-Cav to watch. He's everything you want, and he's quick, he's athletic, he shoots, and for everybody that gives the NBA a hard time of, everybody's just pull up threes, they should watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he is not sitting there to pull up threes. He is driving, he is distributing, he is just such a good athletic player.
Yeah, and the other thing he does incredibly well that could hopefully does not make a big impact on the game. He's maybe the best player in the league at drawing fouls and and getting to the basket, drawing fouls, and that could be something I guess to look out for. Does he get too early fouls on one of the Cavs star players, and then they have to adjust the rotations, and they don't have a key guy for as many minutes as they would want him to? But yeah, I mean, SGA he's definitely a foul baiter too, and a little bit dramatic about it. But all that's to say, he's incredible. He is an incredible player, and you're right. So he shoots some threes, and he shoots them a decent. He shoots 6 threes a game, but that's out of over 21 shots a game. That's really not that much. He lives in the mid range. He lives at the hoop. A little bit more of a I guess we call it old schoolish player nowadays, and just an incredible talent. And the thing is, you can get lost on the difference between SGA and the other MVP candidates, Giannis, Joker, those guys. Gilgeous, he's not a one-man show like those guys have been for a lot of the season. OKC, Jalen Williams is a borderline all-star. I'm not sure if he'll make it or not, but he's playing like one. Chet Holmgren, who's been out for a long time, will miss this game. He is an incredible player. Isaiah Hartenstein has just jumped right in and just been phenomenal for them. And they got all kinds of guys, and they have just really rugged, hard-nosed defensive players. That'll be a good matchup. I mean, I'll be interested to see if the Cavs can break down the defense and get into the paint as regular as they do in other teams against OKC.
I think so, because I think the Cavs move the ball enough. I think this is probably their biggest challenge in OKC because they are all young, athletic. They all move well. They're exactly like what Cleveland is. They don't have a guy that I'm trying to think for Boston. He's played there 1.5 million years.
Horford.
Gee, man, Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They don't have a guy that's got to, come on, bud, unstrap the trailer, get up, and pick him up and put him down. So they're a quick, athletic team, just like the Cavs. So I'm curious to see if the Cavs ball movement can break down this defense a little better, because I don't know if, I mean, obviously they haven't, but they haven't seen this Cavs offense. You haven't seen the best offense in the league.
It's fair. It's just sometimes players in this league are just so good offensively, there's nothing you can do. But like, it is easier to guard a guy one-on-one than guard a team that is cohesive and the ball is moving all over the place and there's motion all over. There's all kinds of different, like, whether it's flare screens, back screens, all these things that the Cavs do. So you're right, and that's why it'll be interesting, strength against strength. I think the Cavs will have a much harder time to score than they normally do, but I also think the Thunder will have a much harder time to defend than they normally do.
Yeah, I agree. I do wish Chet was in. I like his game a lot too. Yeah, he's just so lengthy and stretches the floor. I mean, when it was him and Wemby coming out of the draft, I mean, those are 2 home runs. I mean, you can't get wrong with those. Funny enough, do you know whose pick OKC used to get to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Well, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a trade with the Clippers. You mean when they drafted Chet?
Yes.
Was that also a Clippers pick?
Part of that.
No.
It wasn't a Clippers pick. It was a Charlotte pick.
Oh, God.
Charlotte, or the Clippers had Charlotte's first round pick. He's picked 11th.
Oh, gosh.
And how great would that have been, to have Charlotte have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and LaMelo Ball? I mean, that would be dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if those two guys could coexist. I don't know.
Maybe not.
The whole there's always only one ball theory. But yeah, man, I'm very excited. I think, especially by the time Wednesday comes, I'll probably be as up for this game as I was the 2 times they played Boston this year. Right? I mean, I think I still think Boston is going to be the Cavs' number 1 challenger they'll have to go through in the Eastern Conference. But say they do kind of ride this momentum into the playoffs and they make it to the finals, like, this Thunder team is definitely the odds-on favorite to be the one sitting there from the Western Conference.
Agreed. I think we have a finals matchup.
Yeah.
Or on Wednesday. So cool, man. Before we get out of here, I just want to remind everybody that on Tuesday, we're going to be talking with realcavsfans.com. They're going to come on and we're going to talk about the trade market, what this stellar Cavs team has been all year. Kind of why the national media refuses to talk about Cleveland. They're really good insights. They have really good insights into a lot of things, like when salaries get converted to fully guaranteed and kind of their cap space situations, and a lot of stuff like that. So I would recommend checking them out, realcavsfans.com, both on X and on their website. But we'll be talking with those guys on Tuesday before this clash of the Titans against OKC.
So I have one question for you as we get out of here. So if people don't know, January 7th, that is the date all of these NBA players that have non-guaranteed contracts, they become guaranteed after whatever time it is on the 7th, right? Do you know who the only Cleveland Cavaliers player who is playing on a non-guaranteed contract is?
Tristan Thompson.
No, his is guaranteed for some reason. It is actually Sam Merrill is playing on a $2 million unguaranteed, which I don't think any of us have any doubt that's nothing's going to happen from that, and Sam will be with the team the rest of the year. But no, I actually just found that out a few days ago. I didn't realize it. But yeah, no, the guys from Real Cavs fans, they're a great list. I enjoy listening to them. I'll definitely enjoy, talking Cavs, talking, all things about what this Cavs season has been and what it could be here Tuesday night.
Absolutely. So with that, he's Kevin Lynch. I'm Skylar Wepker. Tim Daniels is hanging out in our comments and watching. But we'll go ahead and get out of here. And Kevin, I'll let you sign us off.
Go Cavs.